Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we're going to get to talk about a state that has slipped into the depths of hell of civilian disarmament with perhaps one of the most nefarious forms of gun control legislation out there, which is the permit to purchase. Translation, a permission slip that you need from your state government before you can go exercise what is supposed to be an inalienable constitutional right. There is a new state to join the list. The last-ditch efforts to stop this law from going into effect have failed. So we're going to need to get everyone educated. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about the state that now requires a permission slip. Okay, America, when it comes to forms of civilian disarmament legislation, perhaps nothing is more evil, nothing is more nefarious, and nothing is more sinister than permit to purchase laws. We see these in states such as Illinois, California, New York, and like that. And if you carefully watch Illinois, you will see how they routinely will yank these licenses on just about any type of arbitrary and capricious reason, thus disarming their citizens. The state we're talking about today is Delaware. Delaware, welcome to the club. Now, I want you to know that there's only one of two ways that you're ever going to really end up on a channel called Washington Gun Law. Either number one, your legislature does something so totally awesome for gun owners that you all deserve a big attaboy. That is not what's occurred here. Or, more likely, your state has passed an incredibly ridiculous and unconstitutional gun law, and we're going to have to get your citizens educated. That's what we're talking about today, with now the enactment of Senate Substitute Number 1 for Senate Bill 2. That is your newly enacted and now in effect permit to purchase, which means if you want to go out and buy a handgun, unless you have a concealed carry license, which we'll talk about in a minute, you're going to actually need to go through mandatory education, mandatory fingerprinting. Of course, there's going to be a cost for all of this, and get a permission slip before you can actually purchase that handgun. According to the Delaware State Police Department's website as of today, they are saying the following. The Delaware State Permit to Purchase section is responsible for the investigation of application for and the issuance of handgun qualified purchaser permits. To purchase a handgun in Delaware, the purchaser must be a Delaware resident and have a valid handgun qualified purchaser permit. To obtain a handgun qualified purchaser permit, applicants must 1. Complete a firearms training course with a certified instructor. 2. Obtain fingerprints by appointment with Identigo. And 3. Pass a background check. And of course, when you go to purchase that handgun, of course, the gun store will also run a background check on you, which means, Delaware, you now have to undergo a background check so that you can then undergo a background check. Now, Delaware, if you are already in possession of a CCDW, your concealed carry permit, concealed carry for a deadly weapon permit, you are actually not required to take the educational requirements that everyone else has to take to get their permit to purchase. There are other people who are also exempt from the education requirements. They include the following: qualified law enforcement officers, qualified retired law enforcement officers, sheriffs and deputy sheriffs, if otherwise qualified under this subsection, federal firearm licensees and Delaware deadly weapon dealers licensed and regulated under Chapter 9 of Title 24, armored car guards and security personnel licensed and regulated under Chapter 13, Title 24, constables commissioned and regulated under Chapter 56 of Title 24, Delaware correction officers, members of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Space Force, and Coast Guard, and the reserve elements thereof, including members of the Delaware National Guard, instructors certified by the National Rifle Association of America, persons holding a valid Delaware Hunter Safety Certification card, and competitive shooters holding competitor classification cards issued by the NRA of America. The Delaware State Police Department shall issue this permit to purchase to all eligible individuals. And so the only way that you're not eligible if you've done all the prerequisites is, number one, you are not lawfully allowed to possess a firearm otherwise under state or federal law. Number two, you are under the age of 21. And then there is this third one, which really kind of takes things out of the objective criteria, but hey, why let case law get in the way, which includes this. If supported by probable cause, a person who poses a danger of causing physical injury to self or others by owning, purchasing, or possessing firearms. Now, of course, the only thing that would actually be supported by probable cause were official charges that have been filed by the prosecuting attorney. But since this is Delaware State Police's judgment to be made, any allegation in which Delaware State Police believes that there could have been probable cause could in fact result in the denial of any application. The class. What is the class you must take? Well, the curriculum is laid out in the same piece of legislation. The curriculum will cover instruction regarding knowledge of safe handling of firearms, instruction regarding safe storage of firearms and child safety, instruction regarding knowledge and safe handling of ammunition, instruction regarding safe storage of ammunition and child safety, instruction regarding safe firearm shooting fundamentals, live fire shooting exercises conducted on a range, including the expenditure of a minimum of 100 rounds of ammunition, identification of ways to develop and maintain firearm shooting skills, instruction regarding federal and state laws pertaining to lawful purchase, ownership, transportation, use, and possession of firearms, instruction regarding the laws of this state pertaining to the use of deadly force, instruction regarding techniques for avoiding a criminal attack and how to manage a violent confrontation, including conflict resolution, and instruction regarding suicide prevention. Now, it mentioned at the very beginning when we read over the Delaware State Police Department that you have to currently be a resident of the state of Delaware in order to get one of these licenses. But there's a problem if you are a resident of Delaware, but you have not been so for at least 5 years. Because then the Delaware State Police, well, they got to go on a wild goose chase because the law actually reads, if an applicant has resided in the applicant's county or municipality of residence for less than 5 years, the SBI shall contact the local law enforcement agency of each county or municipality in which the applicant has resided for the previous 5 years and inquire as to any facts and circumstances relevant to the person's qualification for a handgun qualified purchaser permit. And the permit to purchase will be good for a grand total of 2 whole years, which means you get to go through this process, that's right, every 24 months. The legislation also says that if you qualify, you will, in fact, be issued this permit within 30 days. Whether or not that truly turns out to be what happens in practice, if the infrastructure is properly in place and all that, that remains to be seen. There was a last-minute lawsuit asking for a temporary injunction on this law. The court on that case obviously denied that motion. There is no injunction, otherwise we'd be doing a video on that, finding that the plaintiffs were unlikely to prevail. Oh, and finally, Delaware, if you want to have any private transactions of firearms, you cannot sell a firearm to another Delaware resident unless you yourself have verified that they are in possession of a proper permit to purchase. Okay, it is Senate Substitute number 1 for Senate Bill 2. We're going to link it all up down below. Welcome to the gates of Hell Delaware. You are now the proud owners of a permit to purchase law, one of the most nefarious forms of civilian disarmament right now kicking around in the American legal system. We'll link up all the resources that we use to make this video down below so you don't have to take our word for it. You can geek out on it for yourself. Now listen, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, which in Delaware is not much anymore, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information's down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, cool. Click on that link right there. Tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, the ability to do that is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.